My name is Ryan Hartley Smith, and the video that you're about to see is an excerpt from a project that I did with Queens College where I teach, and we were looking at the 50th anniversary of Freedom Summer. And so the program that this video was for brought in live performers and historians and people that had participated in Freedom Summer. And this video tells the story of what happened prior to Freedom Summer using photos from our college archive. And the images are by myself and the animation is by Jen Epstein.
Between 1961 and 63, an African-American insurgency emerges in the state of Mississippi. The insurgency's roots can be traced to the late 1940s, when Black activists begin campaigns to link legal and moral legacies of World War II to conditions in the American South. The national Black press promotes this connection, arguing for what the Pittsburgh Courier-Gazette terms double V, victory at home and abroad. When the war ends, Black newspapers keep focus on the home front, covering race-related federal and local legislation, court cases, and Southern atrocities. Building on momentum, sustained by the Black press, Southern insurgencies begin appealing to a national, multiracial audience. They do so by positioning media-ready activists as the figureheads of nonviolent campaigns. Rosa Parks, a longtime NAACP organizer, and the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. are examples of this effort. Their emergence on the national stage eventually captures the moral imaginations of Americans across race and class lines. Away from the cameras and behind closed doors, Southern activists continue the long-established tradition of subversive literacy and citizenship programs. Armed with increasing evidence that public demonstrations are an effective media strategy, these courses become rehearsals for future tests of Jim Crow voting restrictions at local courthouses. However, as change percolates through much of the South, Mississippi lurches backwards. White residents in every social class fortify segregation through increasingly brutal legislation and physical force. Similar waves of white terror had previously splintered civil rights movements in the state, but this time is different. Black Mississippi activists are able to incorporate momentum and manpower from across state lines. They appeal for reinforcements from college groups, leading sit-ins, and voter registration campaigns in the Upper South. Many in these groups answer the call, and between 1961 through 63, these young people work side by side with established Mississippi activists, directing their efforts towards reclaiming the right to vote. They attempt to register in groups at local courthouses, recruit others to do the same, and stage statewide mock votes to demonstrate the potential power of the Black vote. Just like their elders, the out-of-state volunteers are met with unrelenting violence at every step. Only when a pair of white Ivy League Northern volunteers get arrested does the mass media pay much attention. During a particularly horrific wave of violence in 1963, a decision is made by a consortium of Mississippi civil rights organizations to direct more focus on attracting the national press. The agreed-upon strategy is to recruit large numbers of white college volunteers for a summer voter registration campaign in 1964. Bob Moses, a beloved member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, announces the plan.
We hope to send into Mississippi this summer upwards of 1,000 teachers, ministers, lawyers, and students from all around the country who will engage in what we're calling freedom schools, community center programs, voter registration activity, research work, work in the white communities, and in general, a program designed to open up Mississippi to the country.
With the nation's eyes on the white students, Moses and his fellow insurgents believe they have the cover to organize a successful challenge to the segregationist Mississippi state delegation at the upcoming Democratic National Convention. The plan involves using the massive influx of volunteers to stage a statewide integrated vote for an alternate Mississippi delegation. When the votes are tallied, those elected will travel to the National Convention and argue for their inclusion. The success of the summer project hinges on two assumptions. One, that the country will respond to inevitable violence against white volunteers. And two, that the country's response will convince the Democratic Party to accept the alternate Mississippi delegation at their national convention. With these two bets placed, the stage is set for Freedom Summer.